Let's talk about revising our essays for issues in syntax. So, what is syntax? Syntax is the way words and phrases are arranged to form clear, correct sentences. Basically, the way we order the words of our sentences. When we have good syntax, our sentences make sense, flow well, and sound natural. We might ask ourselves, why does syntax matter? Syntax affects how our readers understand our writing. If the word order is confusing, it can change the meaning or the intended meaning of the sentence. Syntax also makes writing more enjoyable to read because the reader doesn't have to try to understand what the writer is trying to say. It's already clear. This reason connects to our final reason. Poor syntax makes the writing harder to follow. Revising syntax might not make sense in definition, but once you see some examples, you'll understand. Let's look at this first sentence. She served sandwiches to the children on paper plates. With the words in this order, it sounds like the children are on paper plates. Now, if we revise the syntax, the sentence makes more sense. She served sandwiches on paper plates to the children. Now we know the sandwiches are on the paper plates and not the children. This is why proper syntax is important. We can also look at another example. The example sentence is, I almost failed every class I took last semester. At first glance, this sentence might make sense, but we can improve the clarity by adjusting the word order. A better word order would be, I failed almost every class I took last semester. So now we know that almost is referring to class and not failed. Now this is a funny example. Covered in ketchup, Tim ate the hot dog. Was Tim covered in ketchup? It sure seems like it with the way the syntax is in this sentence. If we revise the syntax, we can make it more clear for the reader. Tim ate the hot dog that was covered in ketchup. With the revision, we can clearly see that the hot dog was covered in ketchup and not Tim. So, we want to collect the overall tips for stronger syntax in your writing. First, place the description of something or the modifier close what you're describing or modifying. That way, it's easy for the reader to understand how the modifier is being used. Second, watch out for confusing or unintended meanings. Third, read your writing out loud to catch awkward sentences. And last, create sentences of different lengths to change up the flow and rhythm. Now that you have a better understanding of syntax, it's your turn to practice. View the 3 example sentences and rewrite each with better syntax so the sentence makes more sense to the reader. The first sentence is, running through the hallway, my backpack fell off. The second sentence is, I saw the bird walking to school. And the last sentence is, the students took notes listening carefully to the teacher. Feel free to pause the video and take your time as you revise these sentences. Let's look at the answers to the practice revision you just completed. Notice how in the first sentence, it looks like the backpack was running through the hallway, which would be crazy. Once we revise the syntax, it's clear who is doing the running. In the second sentence, it looks like the bird is walking to school. The image is funny, but the syntax is incorrect. Revising allows us to again make it clear who is walking to school. And in the last sentence, the word order is just confusing and sounds messy. We can revise this sentence for clarity and for flow. So when you are revising for syntax, make sure to reread for clarity and flow. Ask yourself if what you wrote says what you mean, and simplify where needed because clarity is better than sounding fancy. Remember, syntax equals sentence structure and clarity. Better syntax equals better communication. And you can always fix sentences by rearranging or rewriting.